Hey BookTube, welcome back. Today I'm going to be doing a tag for you. It is called the Medication Book Tag, created by R. Jensen, and I was tagged by Graham over at the Archive. And I'll put links to both of those channels down below. This is all dealing with apparently various medicines that R. Jensen had taken for various reasons and how they affected him. So it's a very personal tag. For me, of course, it's just the referencing is the cues for the various medications. So I'm going to go ahead and just get started. LEXAPRO, apparently it's used for depression. Name a book with a depressing ending or a book that made you cry. I have two for that. My first one's going to be the same one that Graham actually chose, which was A Monster Calls by Patrick Ness, based on an idea by Siobhan Dowd. It's about a little boy and a monster that shows up in his nightmares. And you think it's going to be kind of one type of book, just this monster. It's filled with amazing illustrations throughout. And it takes you on this journey of this boy and his nightmares and things, but it ends up being something totally different. It says that he's been expecting this monster from his nightmares. He's had one nearly every day since his mother started her treatment, the one with the darkness and the wind and the screaming. And by the time you reach the end and reveal like what this monster is, basically, it is very emotional, very moving. Another one I have for that is The Creeper Man by Dawn Kurtagich. This is the British version, British cover, British title. It's actually called And the Trees Crept In the US. This one's kind of along the same lines where it's a certain story and it's leading you on a path, and when everything sort of wraps up at the end, you're just amazed, and it's very moving, and it's not what you thought it was going to be. You thought it was this kind of just creepy story about this creature in the woods, the Creeper Man. You can kind of see in the shadow, here's the head and the arms and the body. But by the time you reach it, it's a totally different and very moving story, and I just thought it was amazing. Next prompt is ZOLOFT. Name a book that you fell out of love with. For that, I'm going to go with The Company of the Dead by David J. Kowalski. It's this kind of beast of a book. I stopped reading this around 273. I think for various reasons. It's a Titanic time travel story. There's all sorts of things thrown in here where kind of the course of history is changed. There's the Kennedy assassination, there's Area 51. There's a whole lot of things in there that would obviously appeal to me, but I started to get a little bit lost in it. I think I needed to power through it more at the time to keep the facts and things straight in my head and all the various characters and what was going on. But I kind of started to lose my way a little bit towards it, and I think this is the book I was in the middle of reading, and I'm not certain. It might have been the one right when I got laid off from Barnes & Noble. I could be having my facts mixed up. I'm not certain. But either way, I know I was already having trouble with it prior to that. And then I ended up just kind of stopping in. And it was too long for me to go back to it and kind of pick up in any manner that I could just start where it was. I would have to start it over again. I really want to start it over again at some point. I'm in no big rush for another big chunker book like this at this moment. But maybe at some time, because I mean, literally, Titanic, time travel, everything that you think would definitely appeal to me. Next one is VIIBRYD. Name the most expensive book you own. Just looking over things I had, that would probably be this gigantic Harry Potter page-to-screen book, The Complete Filmmaking Journey. This is by Bob McCabe. It is a massive book. The sucker's $75. It's filled with all sorts of photos and things, and from the making of the movies and stuff. But I think at this point in my life, I love the stories of Harry Potter and the movies, but all this fandom kind of stuff I've kind of lost interest in, and I think hopefully when we reopen at Half Price Books, I'm just going to end up selling that one. Time to kind of move on. Next one, WELLBUTRIN. Name a book that kept you on the edge of your seat. And for that, I picked Josh Malerman's Bird Box. This is a story of something traumatic happening in the world where people see whatever this object is or creature or whatever, they see it and they kind of go mad. And the only way to survive is to basically blindfold yourself. And this is the story of this one woman who ends up with 2 kids to look after. And she's heard of some kind of safe haven that she can get to. The only way is to travel downriver, and she's going to have to do it blindfolded. It's just so terrifying, the thought of that, that unknown. What is it that's causing this, and is there danger from people as well as whatever this thing is that's out there? It literally kept me just on the edge of my seat. I couldn't wait to get through it. And they did a movie of it, a pretty decent movie, but just reading the book, I think I didn't read the physical copy, I listened to it as an audio book. So again, your visual senses are not even in play, you're just listening. And that made it a little bit more creepier, but I absolutely loved it. Keeps closing on my numbers. Here we go. Okay, next one is REMERON. Name a chunky book on your TBR that you're worried won't be worth it. This isn't exactly on my TBR, it's on my current reads, and that's Duck's Newburyport by Lucy Ellman. It's, you know, it's huge. I'm basically at this point reading 20 pages a day. That seems to be the only way I can do it. I can't dive into it, just lose myself in it, although when I am in it, I do for a bit, but I can't stay lost in it, because it's just the kind of rambling thoughts of an Ohio housewife. Some of them are interesting, some of them are a little bit hitting too close to home. It's a bit bizarre. Like this one here, another page. Ben tells me the bird flu only has to mutate a few more times to cause a global pandemic, like the Spanish flu, and that if that happens, civilization will grind to a halt within a year. It's like the second reference I've had in this book to something pandemic or along that line, so that was a little weird. But yeah, I love her ramblings about Trump. Definitely can relate there, but yeah, I'm hoping it'll be worth it, because is there enough of that constantness to sustain that big of a book? Hopefully, but again, I'm doing it in 20-page chunks, and that seems to work for me. My prompts keep closing on my phone, so one moment, please, because I was too lazy to write them down. Next one is KLONOPIN. And name a banned book that you love. If you follow my channel any length of time, you'll know that my favorite all-time read is To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee. I just love the story. Just so moving, and just the story of the children too. Kind of, I don't know, it makes me remember play acting and things like that with my brother. And yeah, and the story of Boo Radley, who is this mysterious person kind of hiding out in his home, and why does his father shut him in there, and all the stories the kids make up of them, but then the underlying deeper meaning of this book, and it's just absolute favorite read of mine. Next is ABILIFY. Name a book that put you to sleep. I don't really have one for that. Generally, I wouldn't say anything that was completely, well, maybe Duck's Newburyport, because after a while I'm kind of like, okay, I gotta take a break or I'm gonna just nod off. I don't have any books that just oh, it's just so awful that I couldn't get through it in that manner. I don't really have one for that one. I think about it. I thought I had pulled something, but I don't really have anything specifically for that one. The last one is AMBIEN. Name a book that kept you up late. Bird Box was definitely one of them, but another one would be I'm Thinking of Anything by Ian Reid. This is a story told from an unnamed and unreliable narrator, one of my favorite themes in books. I love it when you just don't know quite whether you can trust the person telling you the story. And it's just this woman kind of traveling, a man and his girlfriend says they're on their way to the man's parents' home, driving down this snowy road. And all the while she's thinking of possibly ending the relationship. And then she ends up meeting the parents, and there's just weird vibes throughout the whole thing, and the way the guy is acting, and the events that happen around her, but then you don't know if it's true or not, because you don't really trust the person telling you the story. I can't really get into it. It's got a really intriguing ending, but it gripped me throughout the whole thing, and yeah, I just wanted to read my way straight through it. I've read another book by this author, Foe, which is pretty decent as well, but definitely if you're interested in trying this author out, I would start out with I'm Thinking of Anything. And now I've just ended things. That's the end of this tag. Who else to tag? I don't know. I'm going to tag anybody who is currently self-isolating in their home and have nothing else to do. Here's your chance. Take up a little bit of your time. Share some information. Share some fun. Share some interesting books with us. And yeah, that's all I have for you today. Thanks for watching. Thanks, Graham, for tagging me. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.